As a quick disclaimer, a review copy of this game was provided by Spike Chunsoft. Visual novels can be a hard medium to get into, and it's only a rare few that have the ability to get over the barrier of genre limitations and cliches to reach a broader audience. When people ask me where to start, I usually tell them games like Zero Escape, Ace Attorney, Steins Gate or Chaos Child, and now I'm pleased to add 428 Shibuya Scramble to that list. 428 was released in Japan on December 4th, 2008 to critical acclaim, even being one of the few games in Famitsu, one of Japan's largest video game magazines, to receive a perfect score. Combining a live-action presentation with great writing and a unique choice system, 428 stands out amongst its contemporaries. Many may be put off by its aesthetic, but those who give this game a chance are in for an enthralling mystery game that keeps you hooked from start to finish. .428 begins with a seemingly simple kidnapping case on the streets of Shibuya, with implications that could affect the entire world. 5 people are going to have the most eventful day of their lives, and unbeknownst to each of them, every decision they make affects each other. The player must manage the intertwining and outrageous events 1 hour at a time, with the end goal being to solve all the mysteries and get everyone to the end of the day alive. A story is nothing without a strong protagonist, and thankfully 428 has 5 of them. Kano is a young detective working to solve the kidnapping. Achi is a passionate youth and ex-gang member that spends his days roaming Shibuya to pick up all the trash. Minorikawa is a freelance writer who has until the end of the day to save a magazine publication. Osawa is a virologist and father to Maria, the woman who has been kidnapped. And finally there's Tama, a mysterious woman stuck in a cat costume working for the best character in the game to sell a sham protein drink. Wow, just look at him go. While the early hours can sometimes feel a little predictable, the game uses excellent writing and tension to make you realize that there's a lot more going on than you might believe. Now that introductions are out of the way, you probably want to know, how is a choice-based game supposed to work with 5 different playable characters? The game is divided into time blocks of 1 hour, with 10 time blocks in total. You can only move on to the next time block once every single character makes it to the to be continued screen, but things are a lot more complicated than just playing one character's story to completion and moving on. Shibuya is full of outrageous and insane individuals, all of which can put an unfortunate end to one of your protagonist's day. Don't let this deter you. Getting bad ends and finding a way around them is part of the experience. You're able to keep track of the events of the day by using the time chart, showing you all of the events the 5 characters have witnessed. You'll need this menu to jump around to any of these events, letting you make different decisions to get past these bad ends. You can't just play this game though by trying to pick the seemingly correct choices for one character, since sometimes what helps one character could lead another to an unfortunate end. However, 428 prevents players from getting overwhelmed each time slot by keeping all the relevant decisions in that hour. So don't worry, you won't need to rip your hair out trying to figure out which of the billion decisions is preventing you from progressing. This mechanic honestly feels ahead of its time, keeping players on their toes and making them consider how every single choice they make will affect all of the characters. Another important mechanic is jumping, which is how you get past the keep out screens that appear on the time chart at certain parts of the game. While reading the dialogue or tips, which are words in blue that fill the player in on certain pieces of terminology, there are words in red that signify where players can jump from one protagonist's story to another. I love the gameplay and feel that it has just the right amount of interactivity to keep the player involved at all times. There was never a dull moment with a story or protagonist, as each of them are all much more interesting than they appear to be at face value. There are up to 85 different endings players can get, being anywhere between wacky jokes to gruesome game overs. Fear not though, 428 has a better grasp at its tone than you might expect. It rides the line between comedy and drama really well, and by doing this, it gives the game its own identity. The comedy is outrageous and finely crafted with nearly perfect delivery, which is no easy feat when your game doesn't have voice acting. This is due in part to both the original writing team and the localization team. The script was translated by the insanely talented Kevin Frayne, and does the source material justice. The timing is excellent, and there wasn't a single joke that didn't land with me. The game knows when to take itself seriously though, and uses the comedy as a way to flesh out its world and characters to give the serious moments more weight. The subject matter doesn't play around, but if you were going in expecting a completely serious crime drama, you might be a little disappointed. If I had to give a critique though, it might be that certain serious moments are occasionally undermined with humor. The presentation was something that kept me on the fence for the months leading up to its release, but this quickly grew on me. As you've been able to tell throughout this video, the game portrays its story through the use of live-action photography. No expense was spared in this endeavor, and there are a plethora of photos and videos to give 428 an overflowing sense of personality. It also helps you immerse into the setting and makes you feel like you're actually a resident of Shibuya. The actors all do a wonderful job emoting, making it easy to stay engaged despite the lack of voice acting. Where it makes up for this though is in its sound design, which elevates every scene with well-detailed sound effects and a thrilling soundtrack composed by Hideki Sakamoto. The directors blend all these different elements together so well, and this game isn't something that you should pass on simply because of the visuals. I don't think the story could have been told any other way, and I surprisingly ended up loving the style they chose. 428 is a game that shouldn't have come together as good as it did, but nails the landing thanks to a clearly passionate development team. I'm struggling to find anything I don't enjoy in this game, as it represents just why I fell in love with VNs to begin with. It's a risky title to bring west, but Spike Chunsoft has clearly given it the love it deserves by providing it an excellent localization. This kind of risk-taking should be rewarded, as it lets the publishers know that we want more weird and unique games. 428 Shibuya Scramble isn't for everyone, but if you can approach it with an open mind, I guarantee that you'll find a lot to love. I give this game a score of an A+.